Hey everyone! Welcome to the inaugural episode of Stream War Pros. Finally, we get a nice streaming show up here with the Pop Culture Pros Network. We're going to be the show that's going to segue you today to the Millennial Meltdown, so make sure you stay on for that. That comes on at 7:30. But right now, we have a lot more other important things to talk about, like my wonderful co-host, Gia Adin!
Woo! Hey everybody!
What is up, ladies? How are you doing today?
How are you doing?
Yeah, how are you doing?
How you
David
doing?
is our tech guy. He definitely got us all set up today. David, how are you?
I'm doing well. Sorry for the little delay out there. I know we said 6, but life happens.
It was a crazy day. Yeah.
I do want to give a big shout out here to Gia, who created the Stream War Pros logo and all this. So we got it all set up thanks to her. Coming in clutch at the end.
Literally at the end. Full disclosure, it was very down to the wire. But it's a work in progress. If you have any suggestions, let us know. As you get to know our personalities, we can infuse that into the logo as well.
I know, right? Like we're just gonna have like I honestly, I just kind of love that we're like, this will kind of look cool. This will look cool, and she's like, this, and I'm like, how are you in my mind? It was pretty wonderful. So I'm gonna go ahead and explain to everybody what our little rundown of our show is. So basically, each of us are gonna go ahead and defend a network or a streaming service, and we're going to choose one show as to why it's going to be really good. And then based off why, you guys are going to pick along with us what network you should pay attention to for the month. Now, in general, we're going to be a show that comes in at the very beginning. We said ending of the month, right? It'll be the last Thursday of every month. But this month, because February is weird and we were a little tardy, we're going to make an exception, but you will catch us again at the end of April. Why? Because we want to review everything that happened that month and what you should look forward to in the upcoming month. In addition to that, we may bring up other topics that relate to streaming services. So for today, the first topic that we're actually going to go over is the Emmy wins. Why is that significant to streaming? Because where Atlanta used to just be network TV and movies, now we're seeing a lot of streaming services with specific series that are winning, or in this case, sweeping the Emmys. So Gia, you're one of our most invested award show people. I'm gonna say that.
Oh boy. Yes. Well, this year has definitely been a whirlwind. And I do want to say just a question to both of you and to anyone listening out there. Do you feel like the Emmys should have even happened this year because of everything last year, or any award show?
I mean, that's a loaded question. The reason why I like the Emmys is because it's the only award show where the actors and actresses are kind of, it's a dinner, like it's dinner and drinks, and then people watching you do that. But with everything that happened last year, I think that it's unfortunate because then all the winners of this year, everybody was like, yeah, we know why.
Right.
Like,
exactly.
we know why we picked.
We know why.
We know why the Watchmen won this year. Like.
Well, I think as far as the Emmys are concerned, it was a much more like collaborative effort, and there was a lot more community built around these shows because of COVID. However, if we think of other award shows coming up down the road, that might be a different story. And then again, this is specifically just TV. And of course, Schitt's Creek swept. We knew that was going to happen. It swept last year too, and definitely well deserved. But there were other things that were like, very interesting. I had to give a shout out to RuPaul's Drag Race. My roommates got me into RuPaul, and we only watched it because my one roommate, Haley, had a CBS All Access account, which is now, as we all know, is now Paramount Plus. Jessica and David, would you guys want to talk about the history of how that kind of transitioned?
Sure. David, you want to jump in?
Oh, well, about the Emmy winners?
No, just how CBS
regarding
turned into
should it happen or not.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I absolutely love it. I know that they were battling for a while because before Les Moonves was the owner of CBS, and he didn't want to give Viacom CBS. So that was like a huge battle, and then they kind of threw Les under the bus with all the Me Too stuff. So then he had to go, and then bam, that's where Viacom said, okay, come over here, CBS. So I love it because you get not just CBS content, but MTV content. I believe you have Nickelodeon, and is it Comedy Central too, or VH1?
It's VH1.
And I'm loving it because of all the different old shows they're bringing back.
Yeah, which is great. It's definitely more of the niche, the nostalgic way of going about it. And I think as far as RuPaul, it was definitely going to win. I think it's just it's such an amazing show, and it's so uplifting for everybody. But like no matter who you are, how you identify, if you ever watched a drag show before, even if you haven't, I think that was perfect.
Yes. And if you ain't gonna love yourself, how the hell are you gonna love anybody else?
And don't F it up. It's the best. And Watchmen also swept, and that was definitely a streamer. I know nothing about Watchmen. You guys please take it away. Were you happy about it?
I loved it because honestly, I got a little bit late into Watchmen only because I was like not sure about it. And the reason why it's definitely like a part of the streaming phenomenon is because it was like a weekly show that because of it came out around the time that HBO Max was getting released. And the reason why it's really interesting is because it touched base on one of the lesser known situations of the civil rights movements, which is Tulsa, Oklahoma. And I'm pulling it up so I can make sure I say exactly what it is. So basically it reviews what happens in Tulsa, Oklahoma, back in the day where there was this thriving African-American community with businesses and all that stuff. And basically the KKK came in there and like did all kinds of horrific things. And it sort of uses that as the jumping pace to create the Watchmen. Now it was a graphic novel and it was developed. So a lot of people had a hard time like kind of separating the film from the TV series. But what I really liked about it was just how here I am like losing my words. What I really liked the most about it was how it was Regina King. Her story, the way it unfolds, the way that Jeremy Irons was playing a role that came out of nowhere, and I think it's well deserved.
Yeah, and plus she hosted SNL after that. That was her debut SNL times. That was great too. David, what did you think of the Watchmen?
So I have yet to see Watchmen, so I've just heard good things about it. I'm really behind on Watchmen. I did watch pretty much everything else though that was besides RuPaul. I've never seen that show either. But obviously, the big winners were.
You would be great. There's an episode where they have to drag up family members, or it's either family members or it's people that would never do drag. So like one season they did the cast and crew, right? Like the crew members that do the show. Then one year they did like police officers and things like that. They should do like a streaming podcast live person. You could be one of them.
They have spin-offs too, like crazy. They have a UK version. I know they have like the RuPaul All Stars as well. It's a whole
it's a
oiled machine, and it's excellent. And for those who don't have cable, such as myself, having that CBS All Access and now Paramount Plus was definitely a huge win. And I know that I'm not sure if we're going to talk about the morning show now, Jess, or do you want to wait till later?
We can wait till later, but I was going to point that out that, like, the show that you're actually here to use as your platform was a winner as well. And did you appreciate who won? It was supporting actor.
Yes. Wait, hold on. Wait, no. Who won? I thought Steve didn't win.
No, but Billy Crudup did. As supporting actor.
Oh, for Coriel. Okay, you know what? I totally forgot that he won. He is like the
first show, guys. First show.
It's been a crazy week. He is the Cillian Murphy of TV. I thought he was excellent. I didn't think. Well, I'll tell you what, because he was also nominated with Mark Duplass, and he was excellent too. But I'm happy that Billy won it. If you know the show. He plays this like he's one of the heads of the network. He's like the top, like the second guy in command, and he's trying to be the first pretty much. And he's just trying to create chaos at this network, which is pretty much NBC. And you have to be sly, you have to be a little creepy, you have to be on your shit. And he had all of that plus. And I thought that was a very different kind of character compared to who else was nominated for supporting actor. So Better Call Saul, it's been around forever. I mean, of course, like that nomination is definitely like valid. You got Westworld, you got Handmaid's Tale, you have Succession. But I'm happy that they went with more of an interesting character than someone that you would expect. So that was cool. A good underdog
Do you
No,
do you
I
think
agree.
morning show should have won more awards, or were you okay with
Ooh,
just getting one?
yes, yes, I
Yes.
do. Yes, I do. I will. But here's the thing: people had a lot of time to forget about it. The whole show came out November 1st, 2019, and I was happy that it didn't like it because that's just the way the timing worked. Like it did like make that timeline for the 2021 Emmys, but I wish I don't know. I wish it was more last year, but it couldn't work out.
But you see, that's so interesting because then you have how last year Schmidt's Creek, it was their last season, and I was
Mm.
when I saw their nominations, I was like, oh, see, Steve agrees with you.
Yep, I know.
What was weird to me is I was like, oh, I thought they already won all
Ooh.
this stuff. Why are they nominating them again? And I'm like, oh, because they're
Again.
still in the time frame.
I
So
know that happens a lot. You have that overlap, which gets a little bit annoying sometimes. Because I mean, like it had like the Globes last year too, and I don't know. It was kind of. I wish The Good Place had more love this year because that was like
Oh man,
I
such a
love The
great
Good
show.
Place, right? I know, and Maisel like nothing. Like it got like the tech awards, but well, season 3.
But could it?
Yeah, Maisel is my one of my favorite shows of all time.
mhm.
Honestly, but season 3 was like I wasn't surprised that one didn't get pushed that much.
Do you guys think that when a show like a good show is ending and maybe they didn't get as much credit as they deserve, like season 1 through 5, let's say, and then season 6 comes out and it's the final season, that they kind of give them more of the awards and they probably shouldn't have won that year just because of the overall, capacity of the show?
Is it fair if that happens? Is that
No,
the
I'm saying, do you
question?
guys think that happens more?
Oh,
Like, I feel
it
like
happens
Schitt's
every
Creek
year.
was great, but
Every year.
a lot of people didn't talk about it until a couple years ago, or maybe last year.
Well, because
Honestly,
it was on a low
2020.
network. Yeah, but I
Right.
think it's number one. It's what you said because everybody really got into it after the pandemic because it was one of those streamable shows,
Yeah.
bingeable shows. Excuse me. The other issue is that it was on a network that doesn't really exists to like it's not
Right.
a network that's here or like it is here. Like I don't even like every time I come up like Pop TV, I think it was, and I was like, what is that? Like I have no idea. And I'm like, is that in Canada? And I just don't
Right.
know what it is.
Yeah, no, well, which is wonderful. In Schitt's Creek, like for that particular show, the fact that it did come from a lesser known network and it did blow up and people listened and they watched it and they recognized how good it was, that's what you would hope for in a show. But I am with you where it's like because it's the last season, it's like, okay, you're blowing it up a little bit too much, but I'm happy you did it. I get it. So, because the whole point of award shows is to document history. And I feel like, especially with the pandemic and how huge it got and how much it meant to people, I was totally okay with it winning. And the talent is unmatched. Like, because with cringe humor, everyone loves cringe humor. And it took a while for The Office to get its traction too. So the fact that it came just under the wire with Schitt's Creek, I think was what like millions of people were really happy to see. Because that is the comedy that people love these days.
And I agree. I think that you also see a type of character development that a lot of us tend to forget when we think about these dramatic shows that have done severely well, especially when it comes to like binging. So for example, you're looking at things like certain things that I'm actually pretty surprised didn't get nominated, like Lovecraft didn't get nominated, and that actually did severe, and it was actually a show that did really well. But I think that when you have a lot of heightened drama like Handmaid's Tale when it swept, and these certain shows that you forget about that type of character development that happens only in comedies where like you have like this real emotion towards them and you feel so happy for them. And that's only something you see in well-written comedies such as this, such as The Office, even in Parks and Rec, we're talking about that kind of like style. But so that's our Emmy rundown. And it's funny because when we first did the show notes, it was nominations, and we're like, yep, gotta change it to winners.
Yep.
True, but I do have to say just one quick thing. Dead to Me is one of the greatest shows. Like everyone watch it if you haven't yet. That's all I have to say.
Listen, I can't wait for that season to come up and
I know. It's quick.
Have you seen Dead to Me, David?
I have, and I actually I watched it when season 2 came out, so I just watched 1 through 2, and I was just like, wait, what?
Yeah.
This is gonna happen now?
Yeah.
It was great.
Awesome. All right, so the next thing we want to bring up is the
Well, can I actually stop you ladies before we move on?
Of course.
Just so you know, we can talk to our audience here. Just gonna
we have an
chime
audience.
in here, put some stuff. Yes, we do.
That's so
We got
exciting.
obviously, the boss saying this is pretty exciting,
Oh, look at him. Look at
Thanks,
him.
boss.
This is how
giving you
Gino-
compliments on the.
On what specifically, Steve? What did I do?
Oh,
Probably
he
the
was talking
logo.
about the logo. How you came up with it really quickly.
Oh, hey! We have jobs, man. Yeah. I'll give it- Thanks,
We have
Steve.
my other co-host from the Four Quarter Show saying for us to have a good show,
Thank you.
and he also, is accusing you ladies of stealing me.
Aw.
In theory, if we want to go back into the real genesis of everything, I don't care. But no, I'm the first host of everything. No, I'm just kidding. He's becoming
I'm being
a whore.
called a whore over here
whore.
apparently.
Ouch.
You are kind of in a lot of is wearing. I know, right? I was hoping someone would notice that. So my shirt is a Buffalo Bills lotion store shirt.
Oh, that is
It's a lotion
hilarious.
store?
I thought it was like the football team. I didn't know that it was the
No,
lotion.
it says body lotion. See, it
They
puts the
must have
lotion
had
on the
some-
skin.
Wow. They must have had some tough times getting that name approved without copyright issues. That's very impressive.
And I got it. Watchmen was dope. Yes, Ed. It was dope. Listen. It was just really heavy.
Yeah.
the
Steve is
Empire
like a
now.
whore in a good way.
Okay, so
That's
I'm
so
glad Carlos brought up Bling Empire. If you love Rich Crazy
Yes!
Agents, watch Bling Empire.
If you're into reality TV, which I'm not really, this is one of the most well done shows, and I'm not a binger.
Really?
And yes, it is
Because
excellent. It's fascinating.
It's
They own the
fascinating.
Kardashians 10 times over.
Times. And
Unbelievable.
excuse me,
Wow.
The correct title is Crazy Rich Asians, not Crazy Asian Rich. I don't know. I always mess it up. But no, yes, 100%. Not only do they surpass us, the Kardashians, and this is what's always interesting to me. So in theory, a lot of the Kardashians have that Iranian background, but they never, because their father passed away, they weren't very like involved in it. This is like Chinese New Year is real deal to them. A first-year-old's birthday was like 10 times what I saw them do for Stormy. Like, guys get like,
Well, it's 10 times bigger than a wedding. Like, even like the most
Yes.
expensive American wedding was nothing.
his
It's
100th day being alive was celebrated.
Yeah.
A 100-day party.
I don't know. It's hard to top Kim Kardashian.
No,
I agree.
bro.
No, and I love the Kardashians. Like there's few reality shows that I watch, and plus I'm not a binger either. But this show surpassed both of those things for me. Unbelievable. So thank
I'm a
you for bringing that up, Carlos.
Yes,
Yep.
I'm a
And
housewife.
he got one more thing here from Carlos.
Ready for
Yeah.
office is a crime. Well, he wasn't the original guy that played the part, so I think I don't know. Did
What?
What do you mean?
in the British version, which is where The Office
Oh.
comes from?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think, but I
Oh,
think he
That wouldn't matter though. I think.
Yeah, he still did a good job in the role where I think he should have gotten it.
Well, I don't know. Maybe a lot
But
of people.
I
it was
hear you
just
there,
hard.
though.
You know what I mean? Like maybe because they're like, oh, but you're kind of playing off somebody that exists. But I mean, that's
It
an
was
unpopular
just
opinion.
brand new. No. I totally hear you. I think the world wasn't ready for it at the time.
We weren't ready for cringe-worthy television. That's why a lot of people got into it after.
After,
It's hard to
yeah.
get past that first season without being like, y'all really playing this? Especially in today's cancel culture, like that never would have survived.
Yeah.
There's a
It
lot
really-
of things that wouldn't survive.
I
Oh my
know.
God.
30 Rock too. My best friend David always brings it up. 30 Rock would never fly today. Some
Oh
things
my
in Parks
God,
and
no.
Rec, yeah, it's sad.
And that's why I'm really excited for the Millennial Meltdown, because I think that like we're gonna bring up some things. I'm like, see, y'all thought that was important. No, this is
I
what's important.
gotta hop on that show. That sounds so fun.
I know. I'm excited. So all right. So WandaVision.
Yes.
Oh, dating
Oh,
reality.
I'm
TV.
sorry, guys.
Love on the Spectrum. Oh yes, no, I haven't
Ooh.
seen that because it's I don't know if I can watch it.
Mhm.
When it gets too emotional
Yeah.
like that, I'm like, oh no, I can't. I know.
I know. Can I recommend a reality show?
Yes.
Okay, so now
Absolutely.
here's it. So this is Stream Wars. Does this also include social media? Because there is a woman, she's amazing. Her name is Serena fucking Kerrigan, SFK, and she started her own Instagram dating show. It is huge. She's been featured on the
Really?
Stage Show.
Mm.
She's got 6 figures last year. She was featured in Forbes. She's everywhere. And if you're interested in dating shows, like that, watch that. She's on season 3 right now. I think her finale is this week or next week. You gotta see
And
it
it's
soon.
on and it's on Instagram.
It's on Instagram. So it's called Let's Fucking Date. Look it up on Instagram right now. Follow it right now. It's season 3 is a whole sports, like
famous sports people.
No, not sports people, regular people, but it's done in like a bracket.
Oh my God!
Format.
Stop.
and the audience helps her kind of pick, and it's really, really funny. I think you guys should check it out.
All right. I'm definitely gonna check it out.
Yeah, it's live dating on Instagram.
All right.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Speaking of dating and living together and loving together, WandaVision.
Yay!
That was a good see. I'm a segue.
Yes,
queen.
great segue.
All right, so the reason why we wanted to bring up WandaVision is because unlike a lot of the shows that are on streaming networks, they took it back old school, which as much as we were like, oh, I love this like weekly thing, I'm like, we just did this with another show, like with The Mandalorian. I think it was weekly as well. And I'm like, no, Disney do that. But regardless, it was still something that brought everybody around the water cooler significantly because it's not going to have any other season. It is literally a limited series and it is done. So the other thing is that it was weekly and then everybody's like, wait, that's right. There is no season 2 because this is just what is going to bring us into the next Doctor Strange movie, which is going to be I'm forgetting the title, but I want to say it's
Multiverse of Madness.
Multiverse of Madness. So,
yes.
But I think the reason why everybody loved WandaVision because it does exactly what we're doing on the show. It brought back nostalgia and slowly started to drip away at that, and then back into like the Marvel universe sort of way of storytelling. So, I agree. I love the homage to the Osage. So really quick. So when I was growing up, Nick and Night was like kind of like the thing in the summer. And right. Okay. So every day, like there was I Love Lucy Mondays, I Dream of Jeannie Tuesday, Welcome Back Kotter Wednesdays. And those shows, I would literally like wait for a specific day, like Dream of Jeannie, for example, and I would just watch it. And to see the Dick Van Dyke Show being played so well, and the fact that everybody's like, what? And I'm like, no, that's from Dick Van Dyke. Like only like a lot of people that are into Marvel, like not to say that they wouldn't, you have to be of a certain age to remember, like, how Mary Tyler Moore was in that show. And the fact that then they started to do like Family Ties and Full House. And it was every opening sequence.
And All in the Family.
And All in the Family. Oh my God, I loved it. And I think that the biggest thing it did for streaming was that it showed that networks are here to spend the big bucks and cable is slowly going to dwindle because the big bad Disney is definitely here showing you how it's going to get done with something like WandaVision.
I have a lot to say, but David has to go first.
I want to hear David.
Yes, David, all you.
Well, no, I think at first I wasn't a big fan of it just because it leaves you like, damn it, but I was so used to binge watching, but man, it just keeps you on your toes, and I kind of enjoy that. I think that way they're going to make more money, and they're going to keep you coming back. WandaVision was the perfect example, as I know The Mandalorian did it as well, but I mean, I don't know. I still haven't finished The Mandalorian. I'm not too much on Star Wars, but I mean, who doesn't really like Marvel?
Well, the unpopular opinion... Agree, but the unpopular opinion here is that what I kind of... And I've always said this, like, I like Star Wars, but I'm not a Star Wars fanatic. But I felt that The Mandalorian was kind of like the same episode over and over, just like in different ways. Until Rosario Dawson got there, and then I was like, forget what I said. She's great.
See, I haven't watched season 2 of The Mandalorian at all. I need a lot of catching up to do.
Yeah. So how did you feel about WandaVision?
Okay, I can't stop thinking about it. It's the greatest thing. So comments on both of what you were saying. So as far as the first, like just the formatting of it, I think Disney Plus has proven, at least for me, thank God, has validated the fact that doing a weekly release is effective, and maybe even a little more effective for those people with that fog in their brain or just have a lot going on, where like you want to have time to really marinate in the situation and what you're learning and to have the hype and to have the community. What's great about having it in conjunction with Instagram and Reddit is that you can have different theories. It's Marvel. Now for me, I am not the biggest Marvel person either. I admit I got really overwhelmed with a lot of the movies that were coming out when I was just working all the time and I didn't have time to see everything. But because of WandaVision, I am so into learning everything that I've missed. And I thought that was a perfect way to bring in like those people who kind of fell through the cracks, like myself. And the fact that it was the nostalgia was perfect. The homage to the old shows was brilliant. The fact that it showed Wanda like going through her grief. It was perfect for like coming out right before the finale was right before National Women's Day. I thought that was like it worked out kind of well, even if it was intended or not. And I just loved learning about her. I thought it was great, and it was defending her the whole time. It wasn't her fault. She created this whole world, and because she loved growing up with sitcoms and people just like David and Nardo and myself and all of you out there, we're show and movie huge fans, and that's what drives us through life. And I thought that was great to really like for all of us who live our lives through these shows. It was just a great way to kind of see you, and the way that and Elizabeth Olsen is just amazing, and every role that she's ever played is made for you to fall in love with her, and this just blew her up, and I think the whole cast and crew deserves it. And that's my piece.
No, listen, your piece, that's a big piece, girl. No, but I wanted to just piggyback off something you said. I agree. The people that fell through the cracks. So one of my favorite things about this show is because it brought, now me and my stepdaughter are already severely close. Like I always joke that like that's my best friend. So with that being said, this show, she's not a Marvel kid because she's like 10 and a girl, and she's like, no, she likes drama and things that are on Hallmark, and that's how she is. She loves Pretty Little.
Wow.
A Hallmark movie, that girl will sit down, will not move from the couch. Pretty Little Liars, she'll sit down, she won't move from the couch.
Really?
But WandaVision, she was like, what is this? This is so cool. Like she did, and she doesn't know any of these shows. She doesn't know any of them. And I got to sit there and be like, that's this show and this show and this show. And she was like, yeah. Why don't we watch Guardians? And I was like, like I'm playing.
That's a good movie to start with too.
Yes, because I know she also likes comedies. So basically what it did is that it really like bridged the gap for me and her, and now she kind of is more invested in the Marvel universe because she's like, so what does this mean for Wanda? Where does she go? Like, what is this? I'm like, oh, we gotta wait for a movie now. That's what we're waiting for. And literally the Fridays that she would come, she's like, she would shower, come out in her comfortable preferred PJs and be like, okay, let's watch WandaVision.
Yay!
Like that was her thing. And that
it was an event.
Yeah.
That's so cool. What did you guys think of the theme songs and the music at the end and the end credits?
I'll let you go, Nardo.
Oh, I'm sorry that I was answering the family because they are here. Okay, so number one, the theme songs would crack me up because the first thing I would do is like try to pick where they're from, right? Like what's going on. The ending, I thought it was really interesting that they held off on post-credit surprises until the facade of the sitcom came off. Because it was the way they said, we're leaving this because now we're really going to figure out what type of grief Wanda has so we can show it to you. And I think it was also great on like how they meshed some shows together that I was like, that's an interesting way to like kind of bring them together. And I also like how her hair grew based on her thing. Like, and I think that was also important because I was just like at the very end where usually, and we do see it at the very, very end because, spoiler alert, we get full blown Scarlet Witch at the very end. But I love that she stayed like kind of like prim and proper until her breakdown, and she had that messy hair right up until she got into, chaos magic, and she's like, no, this is what I'm supposed to look like.
Yeah, she was stuck in her Modern Family time. Yeah. Well,
this ponytail.
I know. Well, speaking of cringe humor, like we were talking about before, when it got to like the Malcolm in the Middle and the Modern Family type episodes, it made me hate them.
Yeah.
And
why?
I don't know. Like I got so invested in the Dick Van Dyke Show and in like the Brady Bunch and up until the 80s, up until the 90s. When it got to early 2000s, I was like, why do we like this stuff? Like it's great. Like no, because I love it. That's exactly how I grew up, but I didn't like it as much as the other styles. That's just me. I appreciate it, but it's like not my favorite anymore. In
I think it's
hindsight.
because
I like when they did the Malcolm in the Middle, you know,
Yeah.
little thing. Just because that's what I remember watching it when I grew up. So I was like, oh man,
Right.
I knew exactly what it was when I saw it.
Yeah.
and you know what's
Which was
funny?
great.
Well, you know what's funny is that at first I'm like, is that even Stevens? And I'm like, kind of. But I think
Kind of.
I think it is. I think it is Malcolm in the Middle. No,
Yeah.
but to concur with you, Gia, I think that the reason why I was a little bit like meh is because I will say this: by the time coming back to what this show is about, Modern Family was a network show that we haven't been able to binge yet. Like it's not a show that was rediscovered like The Office, right? You know, Parks and Rec, all these shows that were network shows, right? That had this rebirth with streaming services.
Right.
And Modern Family is yes on Netflix, but it's still happening. So I think they just ended and now Netflix is releasing like the last season. And I think that it's one that hasn't been able to get its reintroduction to society in a way that will like miss it. Like we haven't missed it yet. I guess is what I'm trying to say.
That's a beautiful point, Narno. I think you're totally right.
I
Yeah.
agree too with you.
Yeah.
Like I've seen a couple episodes that I'm like, oh, I want to start binging this, but then I'm like, no, I'll start doing something else. And I think it's
Because
the same
that-
thing with another show like Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I think that
Yeah.
show's great. I
Let's
just
talk about that.
haven't been able to binge watch that either because again, it's still happening.
Right. Yeah. Well, do you feel? Well, I guess that is the whole point of the binge because you want to get to the very end. But I'm fine with binging it and then waiting for it after. Just depends
Yeah.
on your instant gratification threshold, I guess.
Okay. And I think, and that's a great topic that I would love to bring up with you guys, like in another episode. Like, I'm so down to do a topic of like things we love to play in the background and things that we don't mind waiting for because of what you said, the theorism. Like, what you're right. What I loved about WandaVision was that as soon as I was done watching an episode, Kevin Smith does this podcast called Fat Man Beyond. It used to just be about Batman, but now it's called Fat Man Beyond. And him and Mark Bernardin would spend a full hour dissecting things, and I'm like, oh my god, that's right. So it would make me look things up, and I was just
Right.
like, man, this is why I liked waiting for a weekly show. And even Jader,
Yeah.
as much as I hate him, just kidding. No, Jader's like,
Jader.
me and Jader are like legit brother and sister. We are like Malcolm in the Middle. But when we would watch Game of Thrones, like we had to get a house. We had to like do the watch party thing, and I think WandaVision brought that back in a different way because we're in a pandemic, so it depended like who you're gonna watch it with. But you had that community effort of what it was like to do like watch parties and things like that. That was definitely important.
That's awesome.
That's
I
very
agree. Tim, hold on. Tim says he's meeting Kevin Smith on Sunday. What?
Oh yes. What? Wait, why? Is he going to a show?
Wait.
No, he's not going to Slowdown. How are you meeting Kevin Smith
Yeah.
on Sunday?
Is
in New
he
York?
okay?
Oh, no, I think he's going to go to Jersey for a pop-up shop, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm gonna be in Jersey this weekend. What?
I think it's Jersey.
I might be in Jersey this weekend too.
Are you serious?
Why is everybody in Jersey?
Wait, what?
Yeah, I
Why?
might end up there for unfortunate circumstances, but I might be up there this weekend too.
no.
Oh no! I'm here thinking like, oh,
Well,
Dave
hey,
has
man.
a little girlfriend, so he's like, I'm going to Jersey. He's our favorite bachelor. You know what we're gonna do? You should date David. That should be our dating show for Instagram.
Yeah.
Well, I
it
got
says
my
he's gonna be in
quarantine and
Orlando.
chill shirt, so
See?
There you
No,
go.
so you're in
Hey!
theme. You're in theme. Awesome. All right. So
That's so
now
fun.
now we're gonna jump into it. Okay. Now we're no longer friends. We gotta be enemies because
Okay.
now it's officially time for the stream war. All right. So basically, the way this is gonna work, guys, is every time we get together for this show, each of us is gonna come in, sort of parading our streaming network, but based on one show that we watched, whether it was popular or not. And based on how well we can defend on why that show is good, should be the show that you give your $7.99 to for the month. So again, if you don't like it, sorry, we don't give refunds or money back. In addition to that, we want we want anybody who is participating or watching the show to go ahead and put in their vote of who they feel would be the best show. So if for all six of, and that's me being nice, all six of our viewers, you can go in and we'll title each one like 1, 2, 3, and based on how many numbers we got, David, our wonderful tech guy, will be like, okay, this is the number that showed up the most based on who defended what. And so you guys know we do watch these shows, so then you can really get into it. So I don't know if you guys want me to go first. I mean,
sure.
You want me to go first?
Go ahead.
Y'all just letting me take the reins on this, right? You're just like, no, that's great. We're just gonna be in the back seat enjoying everything. No, I'm just kidding. All right, so my network is going to be the original stream binge titan, Netflix. And why is it going to be Netflix? Well, originally it was going to be because I said I was going to watch Bringington, but I couldn't get into it, so I skipped it.
Same.
Already starting off on the wrong foot.
And
why are you defending a show you can't get into on a network that you can't?
But what I did is that I was like, man, I can't get into a show. What am I going to do? There is another show that I kind of wanted to like pilot because I think, especially now during Women's Month, I wanted to talk about Firefly Lane. Now, talk about your major hallmarky sort of standpoint. I was not going to be sold on it from looking at it. I was like, I had a friend, shout out to Carla, and she was like, it's a nice, breezy show. Like, watch it. Like, it's not very difficult. And like, Bringington, it was like, everybody was like, oh my God, it's so sexy. And I'm like, I'm not in the mood to see any of that. So I started to watch it, and it's basically what it is. It's a time jump show. And meaning that you start off with these two characters in the very beginning, and then those characters jump from the past, younger versions of themselves, to 20-year-old versions of themselves, which are the actual actresses, which is Katherine Heigl and Sarah Chalke, and then to like present moment them and the current situations they're going through. So you're looking at 3, 4, 5 decades worth of friendship. So with that being said, the reason why I thought the show was great is because it brought up a lot of topics, especially for women, that has been discussed in this sort of light, especially on a show that you can watch in one fell swoop. So there's only one season, 10 episodes. It is a Netflix show. So it is short, and it's about an hour long per episode. And basically you have Katherine Heigl, who plays Katherine Heigl basically plays the sort of like new girl into town, and her name is Tully. Mitch is Toulousa or whatever her real name is. You rarely hear. Her name is Tully, and she comes in and she's like smoking cigarettes in her cool thigh-high boots. And then there's nerdy Kate, played by Sarah Chalke, and she meets her, and they kind of fall into friendships under unfortunate circumstances. And then she starts to show her the way, like making her like wear mini skirts and smoke cigarettes in the bathroom, right? This is like 1970s. And then it starts to follow them as Katherine Heigl's character, Tully, decides to become a journalist. That's her big dream, like to be a big journalist. And she follows her because that's going to be her producer. And then goes all the way to present time where Sarah Chalke's character, Kate, is dealing with a divorce. And Tully never had anybody she loved because she became super duper famous. She is basically Oprah if Oprah was like one of your girlfriends versus like Oprah. And that's who she plays on the show. She becomes this amazing, famous journalist who interviews people. She even has one of her episodes, it's like a My Favorite Things sort of thing, like how Oprah would do that. And the reason why it's good is because it really does tackle those topics significantly for women and women in friendships that have been friends for a long time. That is very difficult, from like love loss to like miscarriages to like, how does a woman's relationship evolve without hindering their growth. And I do think that it brought a lot of warm and fuzzies, little tear too. Aww. Right? Just saying, in my old age, I've gotten a little sensitive, but but I think that's why everybody should give it a chance and to go ahead and keep it solidly loyal to Netflix. Heigl paid dearly for some of the things she said over a decade. Yes, okay. So what Steve is referring to is that back in the day when she was leaving Grey's Anatomy and she was like Katherine Heigl getting all these it girl roles, she definitely did not become popular with the media. And I think the show is giving her that way back in. And I don't think she ever said anything that was like that terrible, but she definitely was a little way more outspoken than appreciative.
Well, also her supporting actors also weren't a big fan of her, saying that
No,
she was
she
kind of a
became
diva on set.
because she became the it girl right when she was still in a show that was prolific of someone else being the it girl, which was supposed to be Ellen Pompeo. Oh, someone knocked on her
Yeah.
door. It's funny. See, I was just texting people like, open the door slightly so they don't see you. All right, so while she's
So
gone,
are we able to, battle you and be like, hey, do not go watch that show?
why not? Because that means that you're forfeiting your aspect of it. So what was
No, no, no.
what was your
So
network or your show?
well, I want to chime in on your Firefly Lane. I actually tried to watch this show, and I kind of had a Game of Thrones effect where I started watching it, and the first like 10, 15 minutes, I fell asleep. And I just, nothing really captivated me in those 10, 15 minutes where I was like, yeah, I want to go back and watch it. But you did a good job of convincing me to give it another chance. I will give you that. However, I did fall asleep trying to watch that show.
So it's not a dish show. It's a dish show. Cleaning, folding, running around, watching. It's one of those. It's not a show that I'm like, yeah, sit there and like watch it. I
So
sit down
don't
and
watch it
watch
before
parts.
bedtime.
No, and you know what I would like? I would put it up. I would watch it. I would cook. I would put it up, fold laundry. Again, whatever. You don't have to do household chores. That's just what I'm doing 98% of my time. But it's definitely a show that I'm like, you know what? This is a good look into female relationships. And I think that that's what made it really fun. So, David, do you want to jump in and start defending your network, your show?
So I had a show that was on Netflix too. However, I'm gonna, sidetrack from that because I want to be, the devil's advocate here. So I'm gonna go ahead and choose, a streaming service that isn't. It's only about what, like a week old right now. That is Paramount Plus.
Oh,
Yes. Good choice.
Really?
And the show that I am gonna pick is none other than what you can say was the first reality show ever.
oh my God! What are you gonna do?
7 strangers, one house.
Stop!
Oh.
And it is
Okay.
the real
Okay.
world, and it is basically season 1. I'm sure a lot of people saw
New
it. New
York,
York,
right?
you had, yep, New York. They brought all that cast back together, so they're staying in one house again. And right now they're on episode 2, and I mean, it gives you all the feels, that nostalgia. You get to see all these guys after, I mean, how many years has it been now? Like 30 something years since the first season of the real world.
More. It has to have been more.
So I
Has
really
to
like what
yeah.
Paramount Plus is doing with that. And like I said, if you love the real world back in the day, you'll like it now, and you won't regret it. I'm telling you,
Dude,
you get a lot of those feels.
Are they in the 50s? Are they in their 50s?
I think they might be. I'll tell you right now.
Wow. Oh my God. David. we're
That's
gonna
that's a
lose.
that's a solid choice. I know.
This-
Yep. Well, I saw the commercial for the River and I was like, yeah, that's gonna be really interesting.
I mean,
Yeah.
I was always
I
more
hear
of a
ya.
road rules. I was always more a road rules person at first, but that was because the concept I liked at the time that I saw it. I was like, living in a house, whatever, with strangers, that's kind of annoying. But like traveling the world and doing challenges in a Winnebago to
Making
me
money.
sounded making
There you
money
go.
to me sounded more fun.
So cool.
Gia, you want to jump in? I can't wait to hear yours because I'm excited.
Sure. Well, mine's like okay. So the way I kind of went about it was I am gearing up for the Oscars, and I feel like Hulu is a great one to really go on because Nomadland is on Hulu now, and that is huge Oscar buzz around it. So I thought I haven't seen it yet, but I know that it's definitely going to be beneficial for people gearing up for the Oscars. And okay, I'm trying to think what else. But TBH, YouTube TV. Like, does anyone here like subscribe to? Hey, Jader, does anyone here respond? No, okay, so I actually got the free trial because I missed the Oprah and Meghan Markle Prince Harry interview, and I wanted to watch it. So it's
Not
fine.
you, Gia.
What are you doing? Oh, okay.
I was flipping off Jader.
Oh, I was like, wait, am I? It's like time up or something?
No.
No, you're fine. So I'm just gonna say Hulu, and I always look to Hulu when I need some nostalgia. I watch it for How I Met Your Mother. I watch Full House, and I really needed that this month. Like from February into this month, and I thought that was important. So exactly, yeah, Hulu's got the gems.
Hulu does have some gems. Okay, so
Yeah.
so now based on our sort of arguments, and I feel like this is going to be a little bit of a landslide. Who do we think is going to win this stream war?
I'm with David. I think David's gonna win.
All right, you ladies are just being nice here.
No, I was like, son of a bee, like you. Like here I am trying to defend Catherine High going, you're like, yeah, by the way, it's like Real World, and I'm like, son of a bitch.
It's Real World Homecoming. Come on now. Homecoming New York.
Like, hey,
Yeah,
New
you're
York,
absolutely right.
Of all places. Yeah, no,
yeah, I think everybody should just jump on that Paramount Plus and watch that and enjoy it, especially that it's bringing back New York. And like, man, that was prolific at the time. Like, and we were kids growing up. That's why when people are like talking all about this cancel and problematic episode and this and that, I'm like, guys, we used to watch a show where like literally the most opposite people lived together and like survived. So like,
yeah, and it's honestly where you would see like racism and like you know, your homosexuals and things like that. Like that was the first interaction as a kid that you would see. Like at least myself.
The slap heard around the world. Do we all remember Real World Seattle? Where the girl with Lyme disease got smacked.
No.
Oh, you're right.
Because he called him gay, and it turned out that he was.
Yes.
Oh wow. See, this is history. It's because that's just pure sociology. Yeah. And people love that, and that's great.
100%. All right, and so
Steve, no, I picked Hulu because of Nomadland to get ready for the Oscars.
Yeah, but and you know what? Hulu is a gem, but you know what? I think that Paramount Plus is going to be our winner for this month. I think everybody should just give Paramount Plus its time. It was our little known network, so we'll discuss a little bit more when we get to that. So the winner of this stream war is definitely Paramount Plus. And it's funny because Paramount Plus is part of our big stream, little stream. Yes. So what is big stream, little stream? So big stream are the big streaming networks that we think you should pay attention to in addition to whoever won the stream war. And our little stream may be the little known network. In this case, it's going to be Paramount Plus. So why is Paramount Plus our little stream? Because as we said before, it was a transition. It was a network that existed that kind of got a facelift or an argument, in Gia's argument, it got beat, right? That's a drag term, right? He beat the face. So he looked like he's different now. And then our big stream network is definitely going to be HBO Max. HBO Max is, listen, a lot of people, I think unfortunately for it did not get a lot of Emmy nods for certain shows like I Will Destroy You, which was amazing if you guys haven't watched it. But our big stream network is definitely HBO Max. Our little stream is going to be Paramount Plus, and those are ones that you're excited for. Do we know anything that's coming up this next month on HBO Max? Does anybody know? Because I mean,
there's a big movie next week that's going to be 4 hours long. Actually, I think it's a week from today.
That's a movie? That's an epic.
It's gonna be trash, is what it's gonna be.
What is it?
It is the Justice League Snyder Cut. Finally comes out next week after all the anticipation. Him redoing this movie a million times, and it's gonna be 4 hours. And next week, I mean, you can probably do chores. You can, get a whole workout in. And look. You'll hear saying that he hasn't signed up, but he's waiting on the Snyder Cut.
There you go.
What are they gonna do? The black and white one? Or are they going to do like the which one are they doing?
What do you mean?
There's a black and white version of it.
No, I think it's him just literally redoing the entire movie and making it in his view since he didn't get to finish it. But I agree with Jada here. It's a good, nice vomit.
Yeah. Yep. Jada and Gil. There you go.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about all that, but I will say, and right now, actually, on HBO Max, I think the reason why everybody should pay attention is because it is one of those that does theatrical releases along with their shows. What is it? Judas and the Black Messiah was phenomenal, and that came out this past month. But I'm trying to pull up here for April, because already as it is our little stream, like you should just watch it for nothing that's new, but everything that's old, right? Like I think even I Love Lucy is on Paramount Plus, but definitely it's HBO Max has also had like if I will talk about a past show that I think was great, Flight Attendant. If you guys haven't watch it, all of you.
I gotta watch it.
It's a mystery show. You'll like it. It's a mystery show. I'm so hyped for Kong versus Zilla, right? Kong versus Zilla and Mortal Kombat.
That will get into. That I think we'll get into at the end of the month. No, when we're talking about April.
Yep. Yeah, it's coming in at the end of the month. Viewing party. We're gonna have one, whether Jader likes it or not, because me and his girlfriend already discussed it. Is Gio Wall wearing a hat?
Yes, it is. It is my Ragtime Gals Tonight show starring Jimmy Fallon hat.
I freaking love that. All right, guys. So that's gonna pretty much wrap up our show. We're keeping this one short and sweet, as how most bingeable shows tend to be, right? Some of them are short and sweet, some of them are long and draggy. But for our inaugural show, we definitely wanted to do something that was quick, kind of give you a feel. We love feedback, right? We definitely want to find any type of thing that you guys want to throw in that you think would be cool. If you want to nominate shows and tell us, hey, one of you guys should watch this so you can defend it. As we know, just to recap, the network you're going to pay, the network that won was Paramount Plus because of the new old Real World. The network you should pay attention to coming up is also Paramount Plus and HBO Max. So when we come back, hopefully we'll have something from one of those networks, and we'll be defending other ones to kind of get into this war a little bit more heavy. So for tonight, right, I have been Nardo, and I just want to thank you all for joining us. Please stay on watching Pop Culture Pros for the Millennial Meltdown that's coming up at 7:30. Gentlemen and lady, please sign yourself off.
Ladies
bye,
first.
Guys.
Let David like bye.
Bye, guys. Have a good evening.